Hi guys, it's Wednesday. It's 2 o'clock, and as promised, Rockman is in the house. Say hi, Rockman.
Hi, everybody.
Let us know if our sound is too loud, too quiet, or whatever. And you know
Or
how
if I'm too mumbly.
I don't think we'll be having any problems with that, the clarity of it. However, sometimes our volumes are off, and so if the people in the audience, the good audience would do that, let us know. Hi, Doc Michael, AJ Blunt, Michael John, all here and ready to go. Appreciate you guys. And Rockman is in the house. He's going to explain some stuff to us that he's kind of in the zone of this Chaz Chop area, and so he gets some firsthand knowledge of what these people behave like as far as Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Wouldn't you say, Rockman?
Yes, I do. And I also want to say that I'm going to try to be careful if I say things because the YouTube, whatever you want to call it, I can't even say what it is because that's one of the key words. The YouTube eyes in the sky is going to focus entirely on sabotaging this entire production. So, yeah, I have to make sure that I get to as many people as possible. And this red alert is the change in optics, as well as the change in tactics between the public face media presentation of Black Lives Matter and Antifa, and what happens when the sun goes down over in Portland and Seattle and a bunch of other places around the country.
Well, we've already got a concern for the buffer, but if you guys would pray for the stream while just take even 30 seconds and 5 seconds, say a quick prayer. I'll pray. I'm gonna pray real quick, Rockman, really fast for an introductory. Pray for the stream. Lord Jesus, thank you that you're with us today. I pray technology demons and against the demons that work for YouTube, and I pray this stream would be smooth for people. It would clear up, but even if not, that we wouldn't shut down at all and have to restart. Let the stream just keep going, and if people really must, they can watch later. But Jesus, I want to give you glory in this. So help us to have a clean stream so that we can give you the glory and the knowledge that we give out today. In your mighty name, Jesus Christ, amen. All right. Well, go on then, Rockman, and you be careful what you got to say, but you tell us what you
Amen.
want to talk about.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I want to bring up the fact that the very same day, a couple Starbucks and one Amazon store got broken into and lit on fire. Everything in Portland started to kick right back off a few hours later. So that tells me that they're using hit and run tactics. And in multiple streams between the last few days, they demonstrated these tactics. Like every single do whatever it is they want to do in one area, they'll keep moving, they'll keep moving, and they're very undisciplined because they really want to stick around and keep doing what they're doing. For example, trying to light buildings on fire with people inside of them. Frequently, that's happening all over the country, and the media is playing cover for it. We can't expect any media and most alternative media to give us a straight answer as to what's going on in our country anymore because it's becoming a lot harder to tell who's an activist and who's not. A lot of them are pretending to be people like us, and a lot of times, a lot of people are getting organically radicalized by everything that's going on. A lot of people are becoming even more into the philosophy of National Socialism, for example. That's becoming way popular right now amongst very white individuals that have no way to express their angst, no way to express themselves because they have no representation, and that's by design. They want this to happen.
That is such a great point because if we act out, somebody will record us and then they'll put us as a right wing, especially women right now or men, but as a right wing white woman, if I decide to push back hard enough to start a stir or I get mad if somebody approaches me about mass or whatever and they record it and put it online, I'll be called a Karen for that. And they're doing that specifically to the right wing white men right now. And even that couple that had been protecting their own home, they're calling them like Kyle and Karen or whatever. I think they were even Democrats, they're lawyers, and they're now getting charged with felony charges, although I've heard that somebody higher up from them would say null and void it. But it's just crazy if this is happening very well, and if we freak out or try to fight
Nick,
back, they're
I'm
going
sorry
after
to cut
us.
you off there and there.
Go for it.
Oh wow, there is a pretty big delay. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, Nick Rekieta, I think personally, I think it's more important because my old pastor told me that he was prophesying a revival in the West Coast, and I'm holding out hope that this prophecy is true because I'm seeing not just the Antifa Black Lives Matter types, but actual organized Satanists running the city and running around and doing their thing. In fact, multiple coworkers I've had throughout like multiple jobs I've had since moving here about a year and 2 months ago have been officially certified Satanists. And I didn't realize this at the time because I was standing there, with my normie persona, my public face, talking about, oh yeah, I like going to church on occasion, and the reaction I got to that was church, like what do you mean church? Because they have a different definition of the word. So
What was it? So this pastor was prophesying, and he's been assaulted at every single protest. Like, why is he going to all the protests?
well, the pastor that's on the link isn't my old pastor. That's just
Oh,
he's been going to the Seattle Chop area multiple times, trying to preach to them, and he's been following them over to Portland as well because, as we're gonna talk about later on, it's very important that we stress that the relationship between Seattle and Portland, especially with Antifa and Black Lives Matter. But I'm not sure if he's legitimate or if he's like an actor as far as the preacher in the video is concerned. However, they did spray paint BLM on him while he was handcuffed to a pole. So I'm not entirely sure that's really good.
huh. Brother Matthew, I guess it's called. Okay, this next one is the damages to the from
Oh,
this. Go ahead.
well, I also want to touch on that one more time because before these protests even started, like November of last year, there were street preachers out in downtown Seattle, doing their thing, just like this guy. If I really paid as much attention as I should have back then, I might have been able to confirm whether or not they're the same person. Because if that's the case, then that would confirm that he is a real person, genuinely trying to spread the gospel.
Yeah, hard to say unless you can get back to that kind of information and find it. But surely it'll kind of we'll know him by his fruits as time goes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the next one is Katie. She the one that they were trying. I've seen some stuff that they're trying to find these people reporting on this, but they're trying to find them and attack them. But we'll get to that in a second. This says damages that occurred from Seattle's riots. Dozens of businesses broken into and looted. Multiple Amazons were vandalized and broken into. Multiple Starbucks were vandalized, broken into, and set on fire.
Yes, that's completely true. In fact, as you can still hear me.
Absolutely, I can hear you.
Okay, good. As that was happening live, like she was out there as these protests. They still call it protests. Even the cops in their own like radios, they still call them protesters. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. But anyway, yeah, she was out there with them, and they were out there looking that she was reporting on this. And anybody that was that points their phone at any groups of protesters, any of these rioters, they're gonna get attacked. They're gonna be told to shut the stream down, to shut the video down, because the only people to them that should be recorded are cops. And I find that kind of strange because as a protester, you're out there with a sign, you're trying to raise awareness to whatever cause you're trying to. Why do these people not want to get filmed? And why are they breaking windows and lighting buildings on fire?
Also, they're breaking built into buildings and lighting on fire the very buildings, the very companies that have donated, it says here, Amazon donated 27 supporting justice, and she says equity, but it probably means equality. I'm going to click this link real quick. Let me just hang on for a second. And this one says in early June, Starbucks donated $1 million to organizations that promote racial equality and social justice, and they also created Black Lives Matter's shirt for their employees to wear. I mean, and this is the buildings that they're burning down. The links are taking a while to load, but I'm sure you have something you want to say about that.
Yes, I do. There's a unique characteristic with the Seattle Chazonite protester in that um, their enemy are the companies and institutions that are supporting them. For example, Target, Domino's, Amazon, Starbucks, every single company that has virtue signaled to them the loudest over here is the enemy for whatever reason.
Hmm. I got one of these to load and it did say equity. I guess equity instead of equality was the word they used in that article. And then this one is the Starbucks shirts, but if it's taking a really long time to load anything, dang it. But who cares? We can look those shirts up another time. It doesn't look like it has pictures of the shirts anyway. But this is in Seattle, right? This is happening in Seattle and Portland. But it says downtown Seattle. Yep, there we go.
Yes, these are the two spots. In fact, Seattle has been relatively calm aside from what we're talking about, the incidences that we're talking about right now, because of their communication networks, like on Twitter and on Discord. As soon as in any of these cities, they will converge. So these are the same individuals going back and forth over and over again, and we have them on video, we have them on stream, and so do the cops. And another thing I wanted to mention was that when Chaz first started, the Seattle Department of Transportation and the Seattle Fire Department were working together to make sure their barriers were secure and fortified. However, when the East Precinct got broken into a couple days ago, they had to hire a private company to fix their stuff.
Yeah. And also while all this is going on, this supposed coronavirus and everything, I'm seeing that just locally in my town that they're rebuilding all these streets. They're rebuilding the gyms. They're rebuilding the schools. They must be getting a lot of money for what they're putting into the cities right now. And so I see that these Democratic, who's bailing them out? And if everybody wants to say Donald Trump isn't making these personal decisions, but he is. He's the one that signs off on what stimulus package gets done and who gets the money.
The prominent law firm over in Seattle, Portland, Chicago, New York, it's the National Lawyers Guild, NLG. That's who they are. That's who's bailing them out.
Well, where did they get the money, I wonder?
Oh, I think that's worth a dig, don't you think?
Yeah, well, we don't have that information yet, but we might have it in the future, everybody. Because there's also a lot of witches involved in this stuff too. These are, we talked about, you and I have pulled up some information about those four, was it four? There's like four leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement, and they're all LGBT, and they're definitely into witchcraft, and they're definitely into like the Kali stuff. We had pulled some of that up in the Discord at one point.
Oh yes, it's highly likely that they're your black boulets, the black Illuminatis that you've dug on before. And I kind of find it interesting that you mentioned that now because uh, there was a tweet by Kanye West himself talking about how he was going back to the quiet place or back to the get out room or
The
whatever.
sunken place.
The sunken place, yes. Like they're trying to put him back into it. And I'm just like, okay.
There's some interesting stuff going on with him right now. His programming is really glitching or something. Everybody thinks he's free. He's not free. He's definitely still controlled. Absolutely glitching right now. I don't know if it's on purpose or not. Who knows? Who knows what? It's going to be a hindsight thing, I guess. But anyway, it's three gals, and if you look at the Black Lives Matter, it actually stands for this Behram, which is black in Sanskrit. L is life mortis, another name for Kali, an Islamic Indian demon. And M, matter, and not like you matter, but actually a material substance of a particular kind or for a particular purpose, or vegetable matter, a material such as feces or urine discharged from the living body. Material discharged by separation, pus, property, dark matter. And then you can look into the thug life, Thuggy, and you can we've talked about this before, but when you pull them up, they were they were they would hold people down by the neck and by the feet, and they'd rob them, and they'd plan it out where they'd be talking to somebody and they'd come up from behind them and trick them, and then they'd hold them down just like the way George Floyd was. So he is ritual that these people are performing, and Kali would hold her husband, it was her husband I think she was holding down, while she had the head of a demon in her hand. But anyway, I could go on. I'll stop and let you get back to what you are talking about.
No, this is more important because the ritual that's being employed is one of mass sacrifice, and it's happened numerous times in history before, and that's exactly what's going on. You're completely right.
So when people get caught up in this stuff and they're like, yeah, Black Lives.
Rome,
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say when people get caught up in this and they get emotional about this, they don't understand the ritual behind this, and I don't know how to help them. I don't know how to explain it to people who don't want to see it.
well, the best way to do that is by, which is precisely why spreading information is paramount right now. The whole
You can see that it's in the red. I don't know if you can see. It looks like I'm pointing at something else, but I'm not pointing at this. Let's try Discord again. Okay, jump back in general voice, Rockman, and see if we can get going again. Yeah, the stream came back. Just waiting for Rockman. Yep, I'm just waiting for my friend, Rockman to jump back
hello,
in.
hello, I'm back.
There he is. Great. He went robotic again and it kind of shut everything down, but now you're back, so I'm afraid I don't know what you were saying.
Well, I was going off on a massive tangent about the mystical implications of the Black Lives Matter movement and what it really means. However, we should really get back to the tactics they're using against us, as well as what they mean to do next.
All right, tell us where to go next.
All right, so in Christina Fairbanks' Twitter feed, as well as Andy No's Twitter feed, they demonstrated how these Antifa individuals are roaming around armed in these vehicles, and they literally have their own left-wing death squads now to counter their imagined boogeyman, the right-wing death squads, the Proud Boys, their enemies that they keep making up to justify their violence. And yeah, and that also includes collapsible batons and other melee weapons. Last week, while I was on my way back home from work, I passed through the Capitol Hill area, and there were individuals skateboarding around the neighborhood, chasing people in broad daylight, and other individuals have reported similar things in other cities as well. So they're communicating with each other and making sure that everything that happens in these cities lines up with everything else that's supposed to happen. It's all planned, and the local government as well as the state government, as far as like the governors are concerned, they're all acting and saying the exact same thing. Like they're playing dumb. They're trying to downplay the situation. They're trying to virtue signal against Trump on Twitter, and that's essentially the derailing of the entire thread. What's really going on is violence is being carried out against people, against businesses, against homes, against families, and the conversation that they want to have is lives over property. Don't call police on black people, and we're going to keep hearing the same lies over and over again because the very nature of pill pull, which is the technique that they're using to basically just argue us down to the point where we're tired of it, is they will have these conversations with you, pretend to want to engage with you, virtue signal about it, make sure everyone knows that they're trying to talk to you about their beliefs, and then when you talk to them and you prove their beliefs wrong, or when you corner them, they'll play dumb, and the very next day they'll act like the conversation never happened.
Yeah. That's why I think left wing and even the left wing white women, it's like basically if you're white, you're just screwed. But yeah, these tactics are not new. There yeah, what is with all the umbrellas too? You were saying something about the umbrellas.
Oh yes, the umbrellas that they're using to cover the visuals of individuals lighting the fires in the main courthouse and the Justice Center and stuff. They're not regular umbrellas. They're giant cloth umbrellas. I do not know where one can just buy them, let alone supply them for entire groups of individuals.
Right, and I don't know what kind of tactic it's supposed to if there's just be able to hide more from cameras, I guess. But there was something else I was going to say, but I forgot.
That's exactly what it is. Make sure that.
I lost you, Rockman.
Oh yeah, there was a video of can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, I just left and came back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you, but I know what I was going to say. I was saying that I was going to say that we kind of talked about that these places are kind of getting what they deserve, and they're
Can
just.
you hear me?
Yeah, can you not hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. It's just yeah, a huge delay now.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was gonna say, like what this guy says, Seattle's getting what it deserves. This is this guy Mike saying this. Seattle's getting what it. They chose this. They let it go every May 1st for 20 years. Voted in hard left socialists, and now it's coming to a head. And they chose this. And the problem is I think we're gonna see leftists leaving and moving into our cities, but instead of wanting to see a change for their own life, they're going to want to vote leftists. And again, they just don't see the connection. They don't get it at all.
Yeah, and the mentality of those people over there voted for what they voted for is completely asinine, short-sighted, and I think it's counter signaling. I think it's concerned trolling from the other side because we are all citizens of the United States and for any of this. So y'all can just start helping or get out the way.
Shh. Okay. Well, I don't think that I have any desire to go anybody but you, and that might be in Seattle or our own friend, our Paul Revere friend. But things like that, of course, if there's people that want to get out, people that want help or need help or whatever, I'm fine with that. But I don't want these leftists that are going to leave and try to vote in more leftists where somewhere else. They don't because they're not making the connection, even though they're hating what they're seeing somewhere else and implement it again.
No, 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 no. You you are an anchor to a rural, more safer area. You are an example of of where we all need to be right now. We all need to be out of the cities. We all need to be prepared, and we all need to be moving forward and learning everything that we can. You're better off where you are, and you're.
Yep, yep. I don't want to go into Seattle whatsoever. So, do you want to talk about this judge approving the petition to recall Democrat Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin? Do you think they're going to get anywhere with that?
I believe they're going to get everywhere with that. It's a coup attempt. What's going on is Jenny Durkin this entire time has been making sure that she can do everything she can to avoid being forced out of her position as mayor. And the communists in my local government see this opportunity to take her position. It's quite simple as that. It doesn't matter how much she gives them what they want, and she has given them everything that they want. The Seattle percent. So all the individuals in Seattle, all the individuals from Seattle, have no real reason to be out there attacking people and lighting buildings on fire.
So this isn't like good people coming in to recall her. It's not like, yay, this is great. They're going to get her out of there. This is even worse people coming in to take her spot.
Absolutely, and I have the name and the picture posted in the channel for everyone to see.
Oh, let's okay. We'll go to her. Her name's Kashama Sawant, and it says an American politician and economist who has served on the Seattle City Council since 2014. She is a member of the Socialist Alternative, software engineer, and an economics instructor in Seattle after immigrating from her native India. Kali stuff again. She ran unsuccessfully for the Washington House of Representatives in 2012. She got, and it's happening here too. City Council somehow has this magical power all of a sudden to do a lot of things, and people don't think about that when they're voting locally in some places, especially like here in Montana, where we're getting some major Democratic Socialists of America on there. But she was the first socialist to win in a citywide election in Seattle since Anna Louise Strong was elected to the school board in 1916. So, yeah, what do you want to say about that?
What I want to say about it is her organization, Socialist Alternative, was one of the sponsors of the initial march on Jenny Durkin's home, and pretty much the reason why everything happened the way it did, past, present, and future. Oh,
It's
and I also want to say that this started the same night those two black teenagers were shot trying to escape pedos.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think they were definitely escaping some kind of what do you call it, furry animal mask, gross thing, because that's what was on the bumper sticker of the car they were escaping in.
Yeah, and the image quality is consistent throughout. I looked into it. I looked at it as hard as I could. I made sure it wasn't Photoshop, and I watched every video I could. And the cameraman made sure not to film underneath the bumper where the tag was.
Mhm. Yep, and they were bragging about killing these kids, children basically. So I don't know who brags about killing kids except for somebody who wanted to harm them in the first place. And Andy No or whatever, I don't know how to say it. He says that they're reporting anyone who wants to film what they're actually up to.
Oh yes, they're making sure that they get shut down off the internet. They get copyright striked. Many have been attacked on the street, including an individual known as Villain Phoenix, who has been who started off in support of the protest and has been out there filming everything and has been systematically uh, slowly red pilled on stream live for everyone to see. And it was quite a sight to see because he was trying to engage them in an honest way from his very naive perspectives because he was a white man.
It's it's frustrating, and I listened to your video today too while you were saying all your comments. It is frustrating that we can't have this platform and that everybody's on the same side, but the other problem is expect it to get worse, I guess. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but I think we can expect this to get worse. YouTube is not going to change.
We've all been effectively shadow banned from every major social media platform out there. And they're not going to tell you you're shadow banned because by definition that's what shadow banning means. The precedent for this started with Twitter, where they would have like a list of people that were shadow banned without knowing it, and the only way you can find out is by going to another website and looking your own name up, your screen name up, and then it'll tell you if you're shadow banned or not. And that's essentially what's going on across the board in solidarity.
Go to things like Parlor and Gab, but it becomes a total echo chamber over
And it's
there.
affecting everyone, big or small.
It is. It's affecting even people like in the LGBTQ community. Some of their videos are getting taken. There was a time I was hearing about that, but again, like you go to you go to Parlor and it's just nothing but people sharing all the same information. And unfortunately, echo chamber of a lot of new people to this kind of stuff who are kind of riding the Q train blindly or similarly, and they're just sharing whatever they get without any kind of research at all.
I think if you're thick-skinned and clever enough, you should stay on the mainstream social media platforms and continue to try and red pill as many as possible, as well as counter-reporting other that, of course, are being racist, sexist isms to each other. Because within the LGBT community, within the black community, they call each other all those things all the time, always. So find them, report them, get them off the platform if you can.
I'm reporting a lot of the YouTube stuff that they put up too, even though it doesn't seem to help. I constantly am reporting it because they're putting it and shoving it in my face and they want me to watch LGBT stuff, and I report it constantly because I don't know if it does any good, but I'm trying to get it off my feed.
Well, I mean, these media sites are trying to promote all this stuff. So what that's really doing is making sure that they know that who you are and what you don't like and why. So I mean, they already knew that anyway. They know all of that about all of us anyway. So the only real shield that we have right now is the disconnect between our online selves and our real life.
See, if I report it, yeah, if I know that if I report it, it points out that I don't like that stuff, but still, I'm gonna report it. I'm not trying. I don't know. I just pray to go under the radar, but I'm not really gonna try to hide under the radar. I don't know what to do. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep on trying. I do have a BitChute. I do have a Brighteon. I do have uh D Live. I do have Twitch. I mean, I'm on every possible platform. It's just trying to get people to it is really hard.
And at the very same time, this poison is spreading onto those platforms as well, including Gab, including Parlor, especially Twitch, especially Twitch.
So everybody's trying to recommend other ways for us to do this, but what you guys don't understand is it's not just Discord, it's the internet, it's the topic. There's a lot of things going on here. We tried Zoom, it didn't work. There's no way I'm going to use Google Voice. No way I'm going to use that. And we will try Skype maybe next time. We've tried all these things, and it's sometimes it's just the stream, guys. It's just the way it is. And if it's hard to watch, I totally get it. You can come back and watch later, and it won't be quite so bad, or it won't be bad at all. I pay $100 a month, and this is what I get. So I can't change companies, and I can't do better. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. What else you want to
I'm
say on this stuff?
I wanna just bring up the this idea that it's a gut feeling. It's a gut feeling that I have that they, how we were talking about how they know who we are and what we like, what we don't like, and everything like that. I believe that influences our connection speed entirely. I believe that those are the political persuasion that they encourage get the best internet, and the rest of us are chopped liver.
Yeah, we are. What else do you want to say on their tactics before we talk about the last link that I put in there and wanted to talk about?
A majority of physical conflicts with these individuals are melee based, so as such, you need to be prepared for close quarters combat and have a melee weapon with you. Um, and that's for anyone that's living in the city. Now, there have been communities in like the suburbs and places like that where the neighborhood has gotten together with their guns and have seen these protesters arrive to pretty much just run off again because they don't want anything to do with it because they don't want to get shot. So this is for anyone that may be listening that is within or near a city, like in a suburb. Be prepared for melee combat. Sometimes a firearm in a close quarter situation isn't effective. So have something else with you. Have some martial art, any martial art, because there's so many different kinds of body types and so many different kinds of people that I can't recommend any single one martial art. And I'm talking like tactical, practical martial arts. I'm not talking about pagan, kung fu, energy manipulation, any of that. I'm talking about standard self-defense courses.
Learn how to punch and kick and duck, right?
That's right, bob and weave, and don't fall to the floor unless you want to be on the floor. If that is your preferred way of fighting, in which case, get them on the floor.
Grapple. Uh, okay. So also, there's other ways to consider weapons. Speaking of weapons, are you going to get back to making more bows and arrows?
That's I'm not entirely sure. I mean, right now I'm focusing on having as many arrows as possible, and I still need to go to the hardware store and get the supplies I need to make the arrows. Because right now, my first bow that I made is my primary bow. I haven't made any other.
Doc Michael makes a good point too. Having your head on a swivel. Be aware of your surroundings, everybody. If somebody looks funky, read the book Sheep No More. That guy couldn't. I can't say it better than that guy. If you read the book Sheep No More, he really talks about being aware of your surroundings and gives some good examples that you might not think of. Like especially if you're just going to go stay in a hotel somewhere, you should be aware where the cameras are, where the exits are, the roads in, the roads out. You never know what could happen. Somebody could come in, do a number of things. So wherever you are, being aware of your surroundings, always watching people around you, what they're doing, being aware of exits, big one. I started thinking about that, with I was at my kid's school and I was like thinking how I'd hate for something to happen. I came in and like not know where the exits were. So I just made sure I looked around for I was just at a little Christmas concert, but looked around for all the exits just to know where I'd need to get to if something happened. There's nothing weird or over the top about that because it's just about what Doc Michael said, having your head on a swivel, but being aware of your surroundings. Read the book Sheep No More if you guys haven't.
Yeah. In my honest opinion, and I've had this opinion for a long, long time, but now it's been gratified to be paranoid. And when I say always be paranoid, I mean pay attention to who's serving you food in the restaurant. Pay attention to who's
Yeah.
folding your sheets in the hotel room. Pay attention to who's changing your tires, changing your oil, who's taking care of your kids. Because they all need to be held to scrutiny in this world we live in right now, where you can't trust anyone.
Right, and I think paranoid is the wrong word, but whatever. Use whatever word you want. I
Like
mean, paranoid is more scared. I think we're not being scared. It's just prepared.
scared, yeah, not scared but prepared. There's a quote from the movie Fight Club that comes to mind, and that's essentially what we're dealing with here. And we were all young. We were all thinking that we would be like the revolutionaries that would bring liberty to the country at one point, but um, it's not really that simple anymore now, is it? Because they changed the definition of what liberty actually means. They changed the definition of what racism actually means to justify the anti-white, anti-Christian agenda. Um, so the quote from the movie Fight Club is "We guard you while you sleep. We know where you live. We serve food. We're in charge of your security. Do not uh, mess with us." It's the F word used in the quote, but family friendly.
Yeah, not. Let's not do that here.
Hi
But
there. How's it
uh-oh,
going?
there's someone else here.
Hello.
The truth I am. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Doing fantastic. Just chilling,
you
hanging
just
out.
you just came
Oh,
in on a live YouTube show. Do you want to be
yeah, I
on?
was just overhearing your guys' conversation.
Okay, cool. Yep, so we're also live.
Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to do that,
You're
but
okay. Well, you know
I
what?
apologize.
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
Don't apologize. You know, that's a great thing. In fact, this is why I like Discord. Before you go, this is why I like because people, you guys, we talk about like let's do some calling in. We can get calling in. We can do this or that, and like Zoom and stuff like that. Well, I gotta pass out a link to everybody to call in and a password. But if you're on Discord, you can pop in and just be a part of this and ask
Mm,
questions, or you can take off. I'm not trying to keep you here, but I do love that about Discord. You can just pop in the voice and you're there.
right. Yeah, it's so much more easier to use than like you're saying Zoom where you need a passcode or whatever.
Well, did you have anything you wanted to
Yeah, I
say
was
on what we're
expecting the
talking?
Zoom because I used it to watch my niece's graduation just a couple weeks ago.
Do you want to say anything about what we were talking about?
Well, I guess I could agree with. Yeah, well, I could agree with what Rock Prime had to say is that we have to pay more attention to things, to even who makes our food, to everything, to you know vaccinations. Well, I don't even approve vaccinations, but I'm just
Yes,
saying
who is
certain.
your doctor? Who exactly is your doctor, and what political persuasion are they?
Well, actually, doctors should be held accountable for autism and diabetes and psychological depression, whatever comes with these vaccinations. I think doctors should now be charged uh, for giving people vaccinations. I mean, I have I have type 1 diabetes. It's not because of my genetics. It's because of the vaccinations.
I agree with you. I think it is because of
Well, just like
vaccinations.
these journalists and the press, they have these layers of protection legally, so you can't really, go after them legally.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't mean you can make a riot about it. I mean, come on. How many times do you have to use the excuse, "Oh, it's from genetics"? How many times do you have to use that excuse? It's like, no, it's not from genetics. I took my vaccination, and then a couple years later, boom, I have diabetes.
I agree.
I have to be completely honest with both of you. If these idiots were out there tearing out society for the correct reasons, then I may not be so hard on them.
Right. Nobody's protesting. How many people are sitting on their hands trusting the great? Oh, have you guys seen this? He's playing 4D chess by telling us that wearing masks is patriotic now. Please, QAnon, you're killing me.
Who said that?
So there's a guy on my Instagram who's got a really big account, and Anon, I think, with zeros. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Who cares what his username is? But
Sounds familiar.
Anyway, he said that Donald Trump is playing 4D chess because he's telling us to wear masks and saying it's patriotic, and now mainstream media is going to tell us not to wear masks, and they're going to tell us they're going to go against that plan. And I'm like, no, can you not see? He's either being pressured into doing what they want, or he was going to do it all along.
No, I think it's all a facade, honestly, all of it. At least with Trump and wearing a mask.
I believe the invisible enemy Trump has been referring to this entire time has been communism.
Yeah, but he's not fighting against it. I don't think.
Look, Trump and every other president is a Zionist puppet. I mean, they touched that Jewish wall with their fucking Jewish hat.
Watch that word.
Excuse my language. I can't remember the name of that hat.
The tiny hat.
I'm sorry.
I'm like the J word language, huh?
I'm sorry. I could get a little bit too passionate about what I talk about every day.
Well, it's good. It's good to be passionate.
I don't want to count signal anyone.
But yeah.
Go, Rockman.
But
I don't want to counter signal anyone, but I do have some good news. The number of protesters that have been arrested and indicted, meaning they have like charges coming up, they're not going to be released and let go. At least, hopefully not. Has ever since the PPD, the Portland Police Bureau, has been ordered to stand down against these rioters. The feds have arrested like hundreds and hundreds of rioters. So there is actual progression going on in the right direction now. Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, other than Seattle for sure. Those two are up there.
However, I will say it's not good that
as far as corruption.
I'll say it's not good that feds have been picking up people. And here's the problem with that is even if they're people we don't like, if I went into protest and feds started picking me up, for me protesting against masks or whatever, this is exactly that law that will pick people up, hold them indefinitely in a military prison, and no one would even get to know where you are. They would not tell any of your family, and they could hold you for as long as they want. And Trump has been renewing that order every year, every year I think he has to do it, so that everybody who's cheering for this martial law and military tribunals that are private, that could be any of us. That might not happen to any of the people they think it's going to happen to, and we could be held indefinitely, and they'll never have to tell our family.
The narrative that these individuals are unidentified is their narrative, the Antifa narrative. They're the ones crying about it. Like, I'm not sure if I mentioned it on stream or off stream, but for the last couple of nights, I've been watching these streams live, and every single time I've seen these streamers, I've seen these protesters react to their friends getting into Uber cars and acting like those are feds picking them up. about a handful of times now. So I just want to bring that to everyone's attention, and also the individuals that have been picking people up, as far as I can see, are identified through their patches, but they don't have their names visible because I'm pretty sure that they don't want protesters going after their families. So I'm in support of a little bit of fascism, especially since communists don't have the same rights under the law that we do.
Rather have fascism than communism.
What's the difference?
That's just me, though. I'm not saying that's the correct outlook, but considering that I was neighbors with a warlord for about a month, my position's a little bit more extreme.
No, I wouldn't want to live. We already kind of live a communist economy, with so many communist government handouts. We are corrupted. So, in all forms of the word.
Uh-oh.
So,
Oh, you're
in
still
a
there.
way,
Okay.
we both have fascism and communism. We still have fascism and communism. Both. It's a
Yeah,
double-edged sword.
when it's driven out of the public consciousness, when it's driven out of the institutions, it comes up through other means and other ways. However, in this case, it is pretty much still in every institution, and yeah, I'm still hoping and expecting that Trump or anyone else can speak out against this. I know the video game company in charge of Cyberpunk have chosen not to bend the knee to Black Lives Matter, and I also know that Red Bull has also chosen not to bend the knee. So there's two companies out there that are actually sane. Sorry, I'm
Koya!
jumping off topic now, but I also wanted to mention that, and I should have had this ready, but the flag that was used in South Africa is pretty much the same flag that Black Lives Matter is using right now, and I'll find that and I'll share it.
Did you see this? The same logo for the Black Lives Matter and the some kind of communist logo with a fist is literally the exact same fist,
Yeah,
just a different color.
they don't hide anything. And by the way,
One's red, the other's black.
I wanted to bring this up, you guys, real quick before I forget. I wanted you guys to see this is what Black Lives Matter is inspiring. Meanwhile, while I'm not a QAnon person, I'm going to say that defend them that they're being taken off of Twitter and all this stuff because of the harm they're going to cause offline. But check this out. This says photo appears to show Black Lives Matter supporters holding down and kneeling on neck of a white baby. And I'm going to show you guys this. This baby is crying. This guy has his knee on its neck, and someone else is holding the baby's arms. The baby is crying. The black man has his knee on his neck. It's a baby in a diaper, and somebody else is holding the baby's hands, and it says BLM now MF. And this guy is getting a lot of backlash for it, thank goodness, but this is exactly what they are allowing. About us guys, they don't care. They don't care if they kill a white baby. They didn't kill the baby. The baby's fine. The baby's back with his dad, and luckily the custody was changed immediately. However, this is causing offline harm. But QAnon is getting pulled off of Twitter and all this stuff because they're fear of causing offline harm. I want you guys to see this article. I need you guys, as many people as you know, because this is really freaking sick.
Yeah.
Jackson from Ohio. I will not hesitate to name them and shame them, and I will use the very same tactics that they're using against us. And I suggest everyone does the same.
Agreed.
Oh, and he's just been arrested on the 20th for parole violation.
Right, so he is in custody now, but not for this, so who knows. But totally sick. Anyway, if either of you wants to wrap up some, we got 2 minutes to the hour, and just give us your last thoughts, and let's start. I really appreciate that that the Truth I Am came in. If you want to give us your first name, you can. Not required, not necessary. But I think it's opinions in here. So why don't you tell us any last thoughts you want to give? Then Rockman, you give us some last thoughts, and then we're just gonna wrap it up until tomorrow when I come on with Amanda Akers.
Okay, well, my name is Chris. Yeah, like I said, it's good to meet everybody. I've been in this server for quite some time, so I look forward to meeting everybody else. But yeah, great conversation today.
Cool. Thanks for coming on. And Rockman, what do you want to
Um,
say?
I just want to say what I'm gonna keep saying. Well, I'll say that, and I'll say one other thing. I want to say that for everyone listening, that when you win, remember that these people want you broke, dead, your children brainwashed and raped, and they think it's funny. Another thing I want to say is for any Antifa or BLM member that may be listening in or may find this video in the future, I am the Rockman and I am the fascist next door. Come find me. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Let us not be afraid of these people. We are not trying to scare anyone ever. We always say that, not that this has been a scary conversation, but we are never here to scare anyone. We talk about being prepared, not scared. And somehow the stream has cleared up over time, but we had a hard time, so thanks for those of you who stuck it out. And thank you, Jesus, for this community. I'm really grateful for all of these people, and I'm glad that people can jump in on this. You know, people don't jump in on voice much, and I like it. So I'm glad you guys were here. I appreciate you both, and I will till next time. Okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks for having us on. God bless.
God bless, and see you guys later. Peace and love of the Lord. Good night.